Yeah, the biggest comment I keep getting on the Switch, and it's kind of interesting because a lot of people seem to panic about this a lot more than I am, is the third party support. The Switch isn't going to do anything because it's not going to get any third parties. They're just not going to make stuff for it. Why would they? It's going to be underpowered. It's gonna require some extra coding, and why would they do all that to get on the Switch when they can just make it for, the PS4 or the Xbox One? Well, guess what? Third parties desperately want to be on the Switch. I'm going to explain that to you right now. Here's my thinking for this. Of course, the third parties want to be on Nintendo consoles, okay? They wanted to be on the Wii U. It just didn't work out. The Wii U, the hardware in the Wii U is very weird because it still used like a lower power CPU. It was still needing to be used with this gamepad, and I think a lot of developers kind of fell off of that because it just seemed like too much work in general. They had to do that, like innovate for the gamepad, and Nintendo is kind of strict at times with the games because they like to try to keep a certain quality level on their consoles, although there are some pretty crappy games that came out on the Wii, so I don't know what happened there. But the third-party support that has come out for the Switch seemed to be shocking for a lot of people. Because it came out, there was the big logo big picture that came out on the screen, and it had all these logos. Okay, and you see people like Activision and Bethesda and Square Enix and Ubisoft, Epic Games, Cryware, just all of these. Oh, Konami's on there too. That's cool. All of these companies that seemed a little off to people. Okay, and that's not surprising to me. Okay, the Switch is supposed to have a mobile processor. Mobile processor, video card, everything in there is, for the most part, mobile, correct? We all know this at this point. It's pretty obvious because it's a handheld home console hybrid, okay? But it has to be essentially a handheld first, otherwise we would not have handheld parts in it. Okay, it's both, right? We all know this at this point. So why would all these third-party companies want to program for something that is essentially like a handheld device? That's odd, right? Well, that actually makes a lot of sense if you consider where the market is going. So it's been very difficult for companies, I assume anyway, like you walk into a boardroom and stuff, and you're working with, older, more seasoned people, obviously. They're not super, like, you're not dealing with a bunch of 20-year-olds in a boardroom, right? You're dealing with a lot of people who are much older, in their 50s or so, or late 40s, because they're making decisions for the entire company, okay? They want to stick with what's safe, and that makes sense. You develop for the Xbox One, you develop for the PS4, you develop for the PC. That's what, you do. It's pretty much straight across the board. Getting into what right now is an exploding mobile market is not easy when you have to convince these board members to tell the investors that you're doing that. That's not easy. Because you've always done things like programmed for home consoles, okay? And when you see these companies and you see the budgets they have to put into building these games, it's not a little bit of money. A lot of games go out of business if there is like a tank. If one of their games come out in tank. Remember Kingdom of Amalur? Remember that game? Kurt Schilling backed that game, and you know what happened? He had to sell off most of his stuff because it failed. Like, it cost that much money to build it. I remember he had to take out like a loan from Rhode Island or something, and like the taxpayers are still paying for it. It's crazy how expensive games are to build. So it's very difficult to walk into a boardroom and say, we are going to spend a good chunk of money on the mobile market in hopes that it comes back. We know it's new, because, guys, the mobile gaming market is still growing tremendously. It's very new still. We're going to spend a lot of money on this and hope that it returns to us. Well, that's not easy when you're developing for who knows the system, right? There's tablets, there's cell phones, there's so much stuff out there, and it's difficult when you want to walk in and say, we're developing for this console. Well, what do you develop for? You develop for phones, tablets, Android boxes. It's very hard to do that. But now that the Switch is coming out, what it's essentially doing, guys, it's essentially bridging the gap between home console and mobile market, okay? Because it's gonna be a mobile device running with a Tegra processor. We know this. So when they do this, they can basically say, we're going to develop for the Nintendo Switch, okay? They're gonna code this thing. It's gonna compile an ARM. It's going to run on a mobile processor that may also be in other tablets, okay? And what's great about developing for these systems is you can do things very quickly, like lower some textures or anything and put it on Android devices. You can put it on the Android marketplace if they want. And remember, if it's a third party, they are not bound to Nintendo specifically with their game. So let's say Bethesda here puts Skyrim out on the Switch, which we saw it in their presser and everything. It looks good. Let's say they do that and they go, wow, this is working well. It plays fine on the Switch. This year, the X2 is going to be in a couple things, and Adreno and Mali are catching up with the Tegra stuff. Why don't we release Skyrim, since it's already essentially built, and put it on the mobile marketplace? You put it on Apple's, you put it on their iPhone App Store, you put it on Android's Play Store, and all of a sudden they have an entirely new audience, you know, that maybe they didn't have if they stuck with the PS4 and the Xbox One and had no reason to develop for a mobile processor. It takes time, it does, to take any of these games they have. It takes time to program them for the mobile market. Square Enix is jumping in on this already. There's a Final Fantasy 15 game coming out for the mobile market. These people know, at this point, the Switch coming out, they've known for a while that the mobile market is exploding. There's a ton of money to be made there. Just obscene amounts of money for very low cost, because you can do things like put these stupid freemium games out. I'm sorry, I call them stupid, okay? These freemium games out that are essentially there to drain money consistently from like 2% of the audience, okay? Because most of the people are not putting a ton of money in, but then there's like 2% of the audience that are straight addicted to the game and just keep swiping or typing in their credit card. Or their kids, to be honest. They're kids that don't know the value of money yet, so they just keep hitting buy on these, you know, these gold coins or something. And so what we're seeing here, okay, we're seeing companies that weren't quite all in on the mobile market because there is risk involved in getting into it. However, if Nintendo signs these guys on and is like, hey, we're going to put this many copies of the system, these many Switches into homes, right? We're going to try to hit, 5 million in the first 2 years and just put them in people's homes, maybe more. I mean, honestly, this could be like the Wii, and in the first year, 20 or 30 million are out there. Who knows? Who knows, really? But we're going to shoot for, 5 million in the first year or 10 million in the first 2 years or something like that. And we want you guys to start building games for this mobile processor and architecture. Now, these companies want this. They desperately want the Switch to work. That's why so many have come out and said, hey, this is awesome. We want a program for it. Let's do it. And you see Bethesda come out and put Skyrim essentially on it. And they want to do that because they want to try to get it on mobile processors. Consider the amount of users they would have a shot at with a $20 to $30 copy of Skyrim on the Play Store. People would buy that like crazy. One of the biggest places that Minecraft sells is on mobile devices. So many people get a tablet and then download Minecraft, buy it for $10 or whatever it costs, and they play that all day. I have a couple little nephews, that's all they do is play Minecraft on 3 different tablets. They bought it 3 times. And if you have companies that are used to developing for $200 million budgets, and all of a sudden they can get some life out of their old games by doing the R&D, research and development, for the Switch with their newer games. Now all of a sudden they realize we can put these games on the Play Store, and then we can re-optimize our old ones to work in the mobile store, on a mobile device, on a tablet. They can do all of this, and all of a sudden these companies are in a better place. So I think what they want to do, okay, and why so many have signed on already, they essentially want to use the Switch as a test, as their guinea pig essentially. See if they can get some of their games to run on there, because keep in mind, guys, if the Switch comes out, okay, and it is able to run these games well, at 720p even, these guys are going to want to get into the mobile market right away, which means they're going to start flooding stuff to the Switch like crazy. The Switch will get so many games, if that's the case, third party or not. Just it'll make people's heads spin, because they want to put it on the Switch, see how it works, and then take that and then move it to the mobile store. So the Switch is essentially going to be a doorway for these companies to stop developing these $200 million projects. I mean, didn't Destiny cost like $500 million or something like that? Something outrageous. And it's just stupid. It really is. And I don't know why. I don't think they want to do that. I think that's why Konami jumped out of the game a while back and started doing things like mobile games, like slot machines, which I'm sure slot machines make tons of money. But that's why they wanted to get out of it, guys, because they don't want to spend crazy amounts of money on this stuff. They want to spend, you know, like $30 million developing something that can run on a mobile device or maybe on the Switch or anything like that. And I think if the Switch is a success, you'll see a lot of this stuff start to show up on mobile systems, and you'll see it really stick with the Switch. Because remember, guys, it can go either way. You know, let's say we want to do something like take a really popular game from the marketplace and move it to the Switch. I don't really want to see any freemium games on there, but I'm sure there's a couple games that are pretty decent on there. I know a lot of people like Clash of Clans. Okay, now I don't want Clash of Clans on the Switch, but that doesn't mean that I'm not everybody. Maybe somebody does want to be able to play Clash of Clans on the Switch. Guess what? That's a straight port job that they could actually probably just install it straight up on the Switch, and it would take no time to move that over. I bring up Clash of Clans because the company that runs Clash of Clans is obscenely profitable right now. They're to the point, I'm trying to remember what their name was because they run that and they run a couple others. They're to the point where they have, I think, just over 1,000 employees. And based on what their company's worth, each employee that they have is valued at $5 million to them because that's how much money they make. It's insane. Like I said, I don't want any freemium games on there, but the third parties, guys, they want to be on the Switch. They want it to be a success, and I think that they will spend more time with the Switch than they have with like the Wii U, even the GameCube, which the GameCube actually had okay third-party support, but there's not much holding these guys back from working with the Switch and getting these games going and then moving them to, like I said, the Android marketplace or the Apple marketplace, okay, guys? So I would not be concerned at all about third-party right now because these guys, honestly, with, I'm sure, the board members, the investors all behind them, they want to develop for the Switch, honestly, right now, probably more than they do for the PS4 and the Xbox One because it wouldn't cost as much to be on the Switch, and there's a whole new world out there for them if they can do it and then start compiling it for, like I said, all the Android, all the iPhones, everything. We all have one of these phones. So every one of us is a potential customer rather than the 40 million people for the PS4 or 50 million for the PS4. There's a lot more of us with cell phones. Everyone has a cell phone. Like I said, probably half of everybody with a cell phone has a tablet. I mean, iPads are everywhere. Why would you not want to be on that booming marketplace? You know, it's insane to me. So these guys are going to develop, guys. Don't worry about it. The third-party support will be there for the Switch. People are going to tell me I'm crazy. I'm going to tell you right now, with my experiences and everything, they want to be with the Switch. We've all seen this happen where something takes off and they will just put anything and everything on it. The Wii took off and there was so much damn shovelware on that system. It was crazy. And a lot of it was all third-party stuff, guys. If the system sells, they will make games for it. So it's going to, number one, come down to Nintendo moving these consoles. So they have to come to the table with some big launch games and set the tone right away. So I think they've already set the interest level high. Everyone wants to see what else there is for it. So I think third-party support is essentially in the bag, at least for the first couple of years, guys. So don't worry. We'll see everything pretty much. I really believe that. So, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know, maybe you think I'm right. It's up to you guys, but like the video if you liked it. Subscribe. There's more coming. A lot more coming for the Switch and PS4 and Xbox One stuff as well, but definitely more Switch stuff. And definitely check out some of my other videos. Seem to make a lot of them now. So, but I will see you guys next time.